Chapter 20 Holy Matrimony. Calling everyone together, Wanyanyekova said with a proud voice, "We have made progress, and everyone's hard work shall be a reward. Today is Friday and the weekend is yours, so enjoy it because on Monday morning, our journey to seek Sabaoths shall begin. I would hope you rest, but that's up to you." The next evening, as Wanyanyekova was walking past Daniel's group and heard an argument, "Little man, you are too young to know anything, and why should you be leading us?" Wanyanyekova stepped into the tent and asked the man, "What is the difference between a man and a fool?" The man was fearful and hesitated. I'm sorry, but this is a kid, and I'm almost 3 times his age." Wanyanyekova smiled. "What is your name?" The man replied. "I am Helga." Smiling, Wanyanyekova said, "Then you would be almost twice my age, but you have not answered my question. What is the difference between a man and a fool?" Wanyanyekova looked at Daniel's group. "Outside, all of you!" Gathering the entire camp together, he said, "My youngest warrior is 15 years old, and I have made him a leader of 7 men, much older than he is. My friend Helga here," pointing to the man. "I overheard him say that Daniel is too young to know anything and why should he be leading them? So I asked him what is the difference between a man and a fool. Now I will show him. Gather around, for Daniel will fight every one of them at once, and he who stands will lead this group. By the way, there are no rules." Elijah and the rest of the family rushed to Wanyanyekova, and before they could say a word, Wanyanyekova said, "Everything will be all right. Many will respect him after this, and it must be done. Trust in him, for Sabaoth is with us all, even our new friends." Wanyanyekova looked across the crowd and pointed to 2 large guys. You please join in." Obey called out the names of the men from Daniel's group as they came forward. They gathered on one side of the arena, and then call out the names of the men Wanyanyekova picked. Awatwi and Efua. Obey. Then calls out Daniel. Daniel. Daniel walked out with confidence. Obey shouted, "Fight." Daniel was humble, but he was also swift because of his age, and the first thing he did was take a bow with respect. Then he noticed Dorothy coming at him like a bull. Calculating his speed and force, Daniel kicked his right foot, forcing it to break. The deformed leg stood there long enough for Daniel to step on it, forcing the bone upward. Dorothy let out a painful yell as Daniel kicked Efua, who was quickly approaching behind him. Then Daniel took out his cane and knocked Dorothy and Efua both out. Surrounded by the rest, he grabbed a pair of nunchucks. Elijah looked at Elisha, and they shook their heads and shouted, Bruce Lee." Daniel smiled for a second and quickly started performing some techniques with the nunchucks. Helga slowly moved toward him, while Awatwi attempted to grab him. However, Daniel hit Awatwi's hands with the nunchucks. As he drew his hands back in pain, Daniel roundhouse kicked him in the right ear, and he fell to the ground, knocked out cold. He did a double backflip each time, striking Helga. As Helga fell, so did the nunchucks as Daniel faced Helga. Helga surrendered. "I give up." Helga continued, "I'm sorry for misjudging you, for you are a great warrior, and I would be honored to be taught by you." Wanyanyekova was proud of Daniel, and Daniel saw it in his eyes. Wanyanyekova turned to Helga. "A wise man can learn from anyone and anything. A fool thinks he knows everything. Always stay humble." He then turned to Daniel. "Heal your men, and go back with the respect of your men." Daniel healed the men, and they all left in peace. Wanyanyekova went to his tent and wrote, "When a fool becomes a man." So they say, I'm wild, kinda on the loose side. Because I'm rude, and to the point. Changing my ways, slowly but surely. It's a time factor we have in mind. That's slowly coming in place, yeah, and even time. My life comes close to many, but only a few catches life's clues. Handed down from generation to generation, it's a mind game. To those who never reach the position, it's a sad game. To those who have never seen the oppression or depression, they can say anything. When you've been through the fire, you see life as it really is, according to the eyes of the man. So you change it the best way you can. With peace and harmony. It sounds hard, but it's not. When you are a stranger in a land, you can change things. If you think and use wisdom. This is when a fool becomes a man. Early the following day, which was a Sunday, a loud noise was heard throughout the camp. Wake everyone and join me in the arena within the next 30 minutes for an exceptional day, and a great event is upon us. It was Wanyanyekevu speaking over the intercom system. Our friends and family members will be getting married today in a unique ceremony combining African, Native American, and European cultures. We invite all to come to see these two finally get married. Joan, Wanyanyekevu, and Joy's entire family stayed up all night making the area look like a place of peace and serenity instead of a training facility. Elisha had 3 tablets and 3 3D printers going all night making artificial white and red roses and hung them all over the arena. Wanyanyekevu had put up tribal statues and different ornaments representing peace and love. White, pink, and purple silk-like cloth draped over the seats and along the pathway leading to the altar. Grace and Mercy put the finishing touches on the traditional wedding attire for both Jonathan and Joy. Neither Jonathan nor Joy knew what they were doing, and because of what had been going on, they had already told themselves that they would wait to ask Wanyanyekevu to marry them after training. Jonathan and Joy stood there in tears as they were dragged out of their tents. Everyone was in attendance, and even Obed was there with a big smile. The ceremony began with some soft music from classic jazz and R&B artists. Then Joy and Jonathan stood next to a bowl of water as they washed their hands. Wanyanyekevu said, "Water is used as a symbol of purification and cleansing. The bride and groom have a ceremonial washing of hands to wash away past evils and memories of past loves." Then they played music with a combination of drums, rattles, flutes, and whistles, followed by an interesting musical presentation by a group of men sitting around a large double-headed drum, singing in unison and drumming with sticks. Joy and Jonathan walked down toward Wanyanyekevu. Wanyanyekevu smiled at Joy and Jonathan as he took out his tablet and began reading, "Dearly beloved, we are gathered together here in the sign of Sabaoth, and in the face of this company to join this man and this woman in holy matrimony. Honorable among all men, this is not to be entered into unadvisedly or lightly, but reverently, discreetly, advisedly, and solemnly. Into this holy estate, these two present people come to be joined. If any person can show just cause why they may not be joined together, let them speak now or forever hold their peace." Wanyanyekevu paused and looked around. Wanyanyekevu noticed the silence, as he continued, "Marriage is the union of husband and wife in heart, body, and mind. It is intended for their mutual joy and the help and comfort given to one another in prosperity and adversity. But more importantly, it is a means through which a stable and loving environment may be attained. Through marriage, Jonathan and Joy commit together to face their disappointments, embrace their dreams, realize their hopes, and accept each other's failures. Jonathan and Joy will promise one another to aspire to these ideals throughout their lives together through mutual understanding, openness, and sensitivity to each other. We are here today before Sabaoth because marriage is one of his most sacred wishes to witness the joining in the union of Jonathan and Joy. This man and woman celebrate their love and commitment to each other on this occasion. And now, through me, join you together in one of the holiest bonds. Who gives this woman in marriage to this man?" Elijah and his brothers and sisters said, "We do." Wanyanyekevu then said, "This is a beginning and a continuation of their growth as individuals. With mutual care, respect, responsibility, and knowledge comes the affirmation of each one's life happiness, growth, and freedom. With respect for individual boundaries comes the freedom to love unconditionally. Within the emotional safety of a loving relationship, the knowledge self-offered one another becomes the fertile soil for continued growth. The potential for full and happy lives comes with care and responsibility towards self and one another. We assure them that our hearts are in tune with theirs by gathering all the wishes of happiness and our fondest hopes for Jonathan and Joy from all present here. These moments are meaningful to us all, for what greater feeling is there than to feel that two human souls are united to strengthen each other in all labors, minister to each other in all sorrows, and share in all joys? This relationship stands for love, loyalty, honesty, trust, and most of all friendship. Before they knew love, they were friends, and this seed of friendship was their destiny. Do not think that you can direct the course of love for love. If it finds you worthy, it shall direct you. Marriage is an act of faith, personal commitment, and a moral and physical union between two people. We have described marriage as the best and most important relationship between them. It is the construction of their love and trust in a single growing energy of spiritual life. It is a moral commitment that requires and deserves daily attention. Marriage should be a lifelong consecration of the ideal of loving kindness, backed with the will to make it last. Waninyekova then spoke in his native American tongue and interpreted it, saying, "Now you will feel no rain, for each of you will be a shelter for the other. Now you will feel no cold, for each of you will be warmth to the other. Now there will be no loneliness, for each of you will be a companion to the other. Now you are two persons, but there is only one life before you. May beauty surround you both in the journey ahead, and through all the years, may happiness be your companion and your days together be good and long upon the earth." This means that you should treat yourself and each other with respect and often remind yourself of what brought you together. Give the highest priority to the tenderness, gentleness, and kindness that your connection deserves. When frustration, difficulty, and fear assail your relationship, as they threaten all relationships at one time or another, remember to focus on what is right between you, not only the part which seems wrong. In this way, you can ride out the storms, when clouds hide the face of the sun in your lives, remembering that even if you lose sight of it for a moment, the sun is still there. And if each of you takes responsibility for the quality of your life together, abundance and delight will mark it. Do you, Jonathan, take joy to be your wife to live together after God's ordinance in the holy estate of matrimony? Will you love her, comfort her, honor and keep her in sickness and in health, for richer or poorer, for better or worse, in sadness and in joy? Will you cherish and continually give upon her your heart's deepest devotion? Will you forsake all others, and keep yourself only unto her as long as you both shall live? Jonathan nervously said, "I do and I will." Waninyekova continued, "Do you joy take Jonathan to be your husband to live together after God's ordinance in the holy estate of matrimony? Will you love him, comfort him, honor and keep him in sickness and in health, for richer or poorer, for better or worse, in sadness and in joy? Will you cherish and continually give upon him your heart's deepest devotion? Will you forsake all others and keep yourself only unto him as long as you both shall live?" Joy said with tears streaming down her face, "I do and I will." Waninyekova paused. "What token of your love do you offer?" Elijah and Joam stepped up and gave Waninyekova the rings. Looking at Jonathan, he continued, "Would you place the rings in my hand?" Jonathan began to tear up as Waninyekova continued, "We bless these rings as the symbol of this affectionate unity. These two lives are now joined in one unbroken circle. Wherever they go, may they always return to one another. May these two find in each other the love for which all men and women yearn for. May they grow in understanding and compassion. May the home which they establish together be such a place that many seek." Placing the rings on each other's fingers, Waninyekova placed a broom behind them. "As Sabaoth has chosen you both to do his will, from this day forward, Jonathan, you shall be called Aldhib, which means wolf." Tears ran down Jonathan's eyes. As Waninyekova turned them around, he said, "Jump this broom as husband and wife." Jonathan and Joy held hands and jumped the broom. Waninyekova said, "You are now husband and wife, you may kiss the bride." As they kissed, the entire arena stood up and cheered. They celebrated the whole day with a feast. Waninyekova, seated at the table and tapping his feet to the music, thought about the moment he first saw Jonathan and their journey until now. A smile came across his face watching the two newlyweds dance and laugh together, and he said to himself, "Music is like a woman, He took out his notebook and wrote, "Music is like a woman, it'll make you do things that you never thought you'd do. I'm talking to all men, not just a chosen few. Music, it'll make you say things you mean to say. Do things you supposed to do. It won't let you lie. Believe me, it'll even make you cry. You'll be surprised what you'll do when you listen to music. Now, look into a woman's eyes. Music is like a woman. Find yourself buying things you can't afford, spending money you don't have. But you won't care. 'Cause in your mind, her love is what you long to find. It'll always be there. The beauty of music is worth every penny. Music is a beautiful thing. Sent from up above, it'll make you look for love. It'll make you sing, and women will make you do the same thing too. A woman with music on her mind will stop time. Believe me, eternity will unfold, and love will begin. So, grab hold, and listen 'cause love has no end. So, if that perfect woman is for you, this is what she'll do. No matter how strong you think you are, no matter how much pride is in your eyes, she'll even make you say, "I do," and you will surely be surprised. 'Cause she can just look into her eyes. Brothers, music is like a woman. Then he wrote, "Only when a man is lonely." Often I've wondered, when does a boy becomes a man? Is it with age? No way. Is it by seeing death? Maybe. Sometimes I would guess. But for some, I have heard them say, only when a man is lonely does a boy becomes a man. First, disrespect is his answer to so many problems. Then trying to cope by using dope, trying to solve them. Thinking his problems are gone, given up on hope. Once the loneliness kicks in, understanding slowly slips in. Followed by knowledge. Not education, but knowledge. Then the final solution, the conclusion, wisdom. Opens the mind, and to your surprise, your limitations are beyond the skies. That's when a boy becomes a man. Try it if you can. Now you know, but do you understand? Are you a boy or are you a man? Only when a man is lonely does he have time to think. So, he corrects himself, he can't correct anyone else. A boy doesn't think, just reacts. That's a known fact. They don't understand their call. Life is no concern, with lust they burn. Life to them is just having fun. Only when a man is lonely does a man become a man. Listen, let me make something perfectly clear. Come closer, let me have your ears. When the word man appears, it speaks to both men and women. For a man comes from a woman. The woman is made by man. Do you understand? Both have to reach the same goals in order to grow. Didn't you know? A thought I got from above. The one and only. A boy becomes a man, he said. Only when a man is lonely.